All right, ready for a deep dive. Today we're going right to the heart of it, democracy. You sent over, well, you called it democracy as a fantasy and as collective cognitive dissonance. Bold.
It's a good one, yeah. It really makes you think about how we govern ourselves. Do we live up to this whole people power idea?
So it starts way back, ancient Greece,
Yeah.
right? Demos and kritos, where the word comes from. But it sounds like even then it wasn't so simple.
Yeah, we tend to, picture ancient Athens, everyone voting on everything. But that's participatory, different from what we have now, representative democracy.
Right, like imagine getting everyone to vote on every single thing today. Impossible.
Mm.
But does that mean we've lost something important about what power of the people really means?
Makes you think, doesn't it? When you vote, are you deciding policy? Or just choosing who decides for you? And do they even listen to what people want?
Good point. Makes you wonder, is everyone's voice really heard equally? Especially with how huge and complicated everything is now.
And that's where this article, it doesn't hold back. It says true democracy, where each person has equal say, might be impossible on a big scale. It even calls our system, representative democracy, an illusion.
Whoa, hold on, illusion. Like, are we all living in some democracy-themed matrix or something?
Not quite. But it says because we can't all be involved in every decision, we elect people to act on our behalf. But that creates a gap, between us, the individual, and the actual governing.
So we say we have power because we vote, but the real decisions, they're happening somewhere else, far away from us.
Exactly. That disconnect between rule by the people and how power actually works, that's where this whole democracy as a fantasy thing comes in.
Okay, so from illusion to fantasy. This is getting interesting, but I gotta say, a little cynical? No.
I get you, but hang on. This is where it gets philosophical. It talks about democracy as a social construct, existing in our minds more than anything else.
Okay, I might need some help with that one.
Well, think about it. Can you point at democracy? Like, there's a tree, there's a house, there's democracy. No, it's a concept, an idea we all agree on to run things.
So voting, elections, all that is real, but the idea behind it, power of the people, that's more abstract, in our heads.
Right, and that's where they bring in collective cognitive dissonance. A mouthful, I know.
Yeah, that caught my attention. Sounds kind of unpleasant.
It can be a bit, yeah. It's saying maybe we cling to this ideal of democracy even when we see things that contradict it in real life.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this. Okay, so this collective cognitive dissonance, break it down for me. Democracy's an idea, sure, but how does that become dissonance? Like every time my senator votes wrong, I've got dissonance.
Not every single vote, no. It's more when you see the system's limits, when how it actually works clashes with that ideal we have.
Example, something concrete I can wrap my head around.
Okay, how about campaign finance? One person, one vote. Right, that's the idea. But then you see big money, donations, swaying things, influencing who gets elected, what policies they support. That can cause dissonance. Like, is it really fair? As representative as we want to believe?
Right, like we tell ourselves everyone's equal, but then some voices get amplified way more than others.
Exactly. And what the article argues, it's not necessarily bad, this dissonance. Might even be part of how big societies function,
Hold up, necessary. We need dissonance for democracy to work. That doesn't sound too healthy.
Think of it this way. Democracy, flaws and all, needs us to believe in it. This shared faith that it's the best system, even if it's messy. That belief that's a powerful force for stability, for cooperation.
So even if we see the dissonance, the gaps between ideal and real, we got to kind of ignore it a little to make it work.
In a way, yeah. Like lots of things, really. Money is just paper, right? But we all agree it has value. Countries, lines on a map. But those ideas are powerful because we imbue them with meaning.
Okay, so democracy, too, it's about shared belief, even if it gets challenged sometimes. But if we admit it's flawed, that we're clinging to an ideal, does that mean giving up, accepting things as they are?
Not at all. That's where it gets more nuanced. Not just democracy's a fantasy, end of story. It's about realizing, striving for a better society that never ends. It means questioning, challenging the systems we've built.
So not despair, but using this knowledge, this dissonance even, to push for real change.
Exactly. It's saying move past just accepting democracy as something static. It's an ongoing thing. We're all shaping it with every action, every choice we make.
I like that. We the people, we're not off the hook. We got to hold those in power accountable, demand better, bridge the gap between that ideal and our daily lives.
Exactly. And that brings us back to participatory democracy. Remember that. Sounds ancient, but maybe it's got lessons for us now.
Wait, we all got to go chisel laws onto stone tablets, debate in the town square.
Maybe not literally. but that spirit, Finding ways to be more directly involved. Doesn't have to be huge. Everyday actions count.
Like what? How can regular people actually make a difference?
Start with staying informed. Not just headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Really understand the issues. Read different viewpoints. Talk to people who disagree with you.
So, informed citizen, step 1.
Yeah.
What else?
Local stuff. Town hall meetings. Pester your representatives about things you care about. Join community groups making change happen. Ground level stuff.
Right. We think national, but local's where you can really have an impact.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to question, challenge, hold people accountable. A little healthy skepticism is good for democracy.
Man, this has given me a lot to think about. Easy to just vote and not think about the system itself, But this conversation, it really makes you see both how fragile it is, but also its potential.
I agree. And I think that's what it was going for, this article. Shake us up a bit, get us to really engage with democracy in a more thoughtful way.
It's like, what is it they say? Democracy's not a spectator sport.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be in the game.
Exactly. And playing the game, it can look like a lot of things. Talking to people you disagree with, getting involved with movements you believe in, making your voice heard, contributing to how we build our future together.
This has really been something, this whole deep dive. We throw around these big words, democracy, whatever, but actually getting into it. This article, this chat, it makes you think critically about systems we just take for granted.
That's the beauty of it, right? These deep dives, they help us step back, question those assumptions, really engage with these big ideas.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up here, democracy, illusions, all that, one last thought for everyone listening. If it is all just stuff we made up, ideas we all agree on, does that make democracy any less powerful? And knowing it's got flaws, it's fragile even, what can we do, each of us, to build a future where everyone's more involved?
Yeah.
Even if perfect democracy is, impossible.
Now those are the questions, aren't they? And who knows, the answers might surprise us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into, democracy in all its messy glory. Keep those questions coming and keep diving deeper.